In this episode, we'll cover how our YouTube channels performed in 2023.
And we'll also share our strategy of how we plan to reach six figures with our online content by the end of the year.
Welcome back to the Nick and Sanjee podcast, where we share our tips and tricks on how to start and grow a YouTube channel as we ourselves go on that journey. How are you today, Nick?
I'm good. I'm very excited for this conversation. Looking back on last year and looking forward to this year. It's going to be good. How are you?
Yeah, it is quite a tasty subject. I think we were chatting off camera just on how I'm quite excited to even just go through this and set out a bit of a plan for 2024. So that's what we're covering today. We're going to go through a bit of reviewing our performance, our YouTube channel performance in 2023, and also touching on what we're going to try and do a bit differently in 2024 to try and achieve some pretty exciting goals for the end of the year. And that's specifically around YouTube and generally around what we're doing in terms of the online space. And I think this episode will be quite interesting because Nick and I can attack this from 2 points of view, one as a full-time content creator and myself as a bit of a casual part-time content creator as I do that as well. So yeah, some interesting things for us to share. And also towards the end of the episode, we're going to share our top tip of the week. So please do hang around for that as well, because I think that's going to be quite useful for both of us, but also for yourself if you're going down the content creation path in 2024. So up front, Nick, I think I was saying how I wanted to describe and define some of the definitions around what we're saying here. So when we say we want to try and achieve six figures by the end of 24, we're saying that's about $100,000 a year, pre-tax, pre-cost, so pure revenue in terms of the channels, what's hitting our bank accounts. And that might be new to you if you are a content creator or you're coming into this space. Generally, when you work a standard full-time job or a part-time job, your companies or your organizations are usually paying you after they've taken a bit aside for tax. But when you're working as a YouTube content creator or any of these other type roles, you're basically a self-employed person. So you get paid money, but you are responsible for dealing with your own taxes. And I'll also mention, this is probably heavily focused on you, Nick, in terms of how your journey's going. I'd love to hit six figures. I think I'm not quite on the journey, but I'll try and pull a few levers to get there as well. Yep. But yeah, let's be transparent about that. It'll probably be more so your side they'll achieve it. But yeah, let's see how we go.
Yep, sounds good.
So on that note, I'll pass over to you, Nick, in terms of how has your channel performed over 2023?
Yeah, so last year was a big year for me. It was the first year full time. So yeah, I was working full time in a previous job the year before that, and just doing YouTube on the side. And then started last year, I decided to go full time on YouTube, and my income was probably a bit less than half of my previous full time wage, and so it was a bit of a risk, and I wasn't quite sure if it was going to work. And I kind of gave myself 3 to 6 months to see if it would work. And thankfully, within 6 months, I was earning as much as I was at my old full time job. So that was really good, and I felt really good. It was like, oh, this actually works, like I wasn't 100% sure it was going to work. And yeah, it actually proved it was going to work. And I posted pretty much every single day for the year until kind of like the last month, like maybe December is when I started to cut back on that a bit. But it was pretty much one long form video per week and 6 short form videos per week. And yeah, my views pretty much doubled. So I got 2.2 million views in 2023 and about 8,000 new subscribers. So the channel pretty much doubled in size, which was really good to see, obviously. Yep. And then my income almost tripled. So yeah, the income kind of went up more than the actual growth of the channel did, which was interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a big year, very exciting. Lots of ups and downs, lots of challenges, but it was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's massive, Nick. Congrats on that, because especially around like you start off and you're not sure, but you put in the hours and you put in the work, and then the channel does grow quite dramatically to the point. I think the key metric you said was around 6 months you're covering your original salary. That's a big deal. And then from there, it's just continued to grow. And I think it's important for us to highlight that around like if you do the work, you do get rewarded.
Mm.
But also it's important to take a bit of a step back to also acknowledge YouTube is not as passive as content creators may have said in the past.
Yep.
You do have to sort of turn up and actually do the work and consistently do the work. And I'll probably be able to touch on a bit what happens when you don't do the work.
Mm.
But yeah, that's really powerful.
So how about for you, Sanjee? How was your 2023?
Yeah, so 23 for me was a good example of what happens when you don't post as much. So I went in planning to do, and for context, my channel really, I started it a few years ago. I got monetized in early 21, and then at 22 went a bit sideways. 23, I was trying to make a bit of a return and try and post about one a week. I only ended up posting 9 videos out of a 52 target range. So it's only 17% achievement against my target. Obviously, I did have a few other things that came up throughout the year, all very manageable things. So I do think this was very much down to my lack of consistency and a bit of laziness. But what that meant was I went from having a low 5-figure income annualized to now a very, very much a reasonably low 4-figure income in 2023. So I think it's a good contrast between you and me, Nick, in terms of we're both monetized, but I didn't put out that many videos and YouTube treated me appropriately. YouTube and the audience, because at the end of the day, it is up to your audience. If you're not putting out new products, which is essentially videos, people are not watching your videos, and therefore your potential for earning income decreases, and also your earning, how much you actually do earn, does decrease.
Mm. Mm.
So that was a good lesson for me. I mean, to some extent, I was kind of curious what does happen if I put out very few videos. How much does it
Mm.
drop? So it's about, I think it's about an 80% drop in revenue.
Yeah, well.
Now I can handle that because I guess it's not my main revenue source. And it kind of makes sense. If you did a full-time job and you
Yeah.
went from, doing your job to only doing your job, 20% of the time, you'd
Yeah.
probably get a pay cut as well. So
Yeah. That's
kind of
pretty
makes
much the
sense.
mindset that I've had like this past 12 months. Because some people said to me like, how do you have the self-discipline to, do your own thing, like just working from home all the time? And I just think of it as like my regular job. If I don't show up, I'm not going to get paid. So that's been a
Yeah,
big motivation to keep putting in the work. It's like, if I want to pay the bills, I better make a video this week. So yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, so that's probably been my review, and it's a little disappointing, but not unexpected. I think those types of numbers to see. So that was my 23. Now looking into 24, which we're already in as we're actually recording this. What's your plan for 24, Nick? How are we going to achieve these big targets?
Yeah, because it's definitely a big target. But I've got a few kind of ideas and a bit of a strategy on how I want to try and reach it. And the first is to really just focus on the one niche, because we've talked about in past episodes how my channel has been a bit more, here, there, and everywhere in terms of
Yep.
topics, because I've done Eastgate content, Kindle content, reading, investing, tech, all sorts of stuff. But end of last year, I really decided, okay, I really want to niche down, really want to pick one topic that I'm interested in, and I feel like I can get a lot of longevity out of. And so I want to specifically target new content creators to help them improve their production quality. So helping them with like editing, helping them with video production, lighting, all that type of stuff. And with that, I want to just try and focus purely on long form, because last year, like I said, I was doing long form and short form, and short form was taking up quite a lot of time. I think by the end of the year, I was spending about 2 days a week on short form and then 3 days on long form. But I was making like 1 to 5% of my revenue from short form. So from a business point of view, it just doesn't really make sense for me to keep making short form content, because all the revenue is in long form. So I'm going to focus purely on long form content, apart from the odd short, with the hope that will really boost my income. And then with the income that I make from the long form, I'm going to try and start outsourcing,
Mm-hmm.
and then hopefully that'll free up my time to do more things that'll increase the revenue. Hopefully, I'll start outsourcing shorts as well, and so that's sort of the first prong of the strategy. The second one is to build my email list. And again, I started this just towards the end of last year, and it's growing pretty consistently. I'm trying to create some lead magnets with my videos, just try and get people onto my email list. And then through that email list, I'm trying to do it weekly at the moment. I've just moved to a weekly newsletter schedule, and then hopefully put out lots of free products that will help people build trust. And then the final step in the strategy is to build a paid product. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
100% sure what that is yet. I'm thinking maybe a course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure yet. But then I'll market that through my email list, and hopefully that'll help elevate me to that 6-figure mark. So that's essentially the strategy that I've got going for this year. So we'll see how it goes. I guess it's
Yeah, I think there's a couple of good points that you've pointed out around, like, these are diversified income streams as well. So the typical YouTuber has the AdSense, which oh well, for some it can be high, for some it can be quite a low proportion. And we have done previous episodes where we've talked a bit about money, and hang around. We'll do more episodes in the future. We know a lot of people are probably most interested in that as well. But I think for yourself, Nick, you've got a few different income sources that will probably make up that 100 grand a year generally. Is there about 3 or 4 from memory?
yeah, I'd say so. It's like AdSense, affiliates is a big one, so that's still
Yep.
going to be a big part of this year. Sponsorships. So again, I'm trying to move away from sponsorships a bit, just because
Mm.
there can be a bit of hassle, but they can be a good cash boost. And then products. Products is the big one that I really want to move more into. I've been wanting to do that for ages anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like this year's the year to finally do it.
Yep. Yep. Perfect. Yeah. Products are really around that sustainability. Products are probably the actual example of um, passive income. You make it once and you
Mm,
sell it multiple times.
mm,
Um, so that's a good example. So in terms of myself for 2024, mine is very much around just re-establishing a bit of credibility back within my audience. It's good. I mean, it's good and it's bad, but I can see there's a few people who are still commenting, hey, what's going on? Where are you? You haven't made any videos in 2024. So I do notice those. So thank you for commenting if you do see that. But for me, it is very much around, let's try and get back to one video a week, um, and 12 shorts in the year. So if I can do one video a week, a short a month, that's a pretty good run for me. Where I'm at, I think I just need to focus on inputs based targets around make the content, edit the content, script it, edit it, record it, all of that, and then publish it out.
mm,
And then trying to get a bit of traction for myself around having that rhythm. It's very easy, I think, when you do YouTube part time to not take it seriously and to push things to the next day, to push things to the
mm.
next day. It's like any hobby.
Yep.
And I remember I used to get angry when people would describe my channel as being a hobby channel back when I
Right.
did put a lot of effort into it.
Yep.
But I now see what they mean, because it is very much, you kind of do it when you're free. It is like building model airplanes or playing computer games, really. You do it when you're free, you do it outside of it. But that's not going to help you achieve much.
Mm,
If you really want to grow your channel and make it a sustainable thing, which is something I would like to do, I do need to be more consistent on it. Now, I know that probably leads on to the conversation about how can we do this. I'm going to go back to some of the basic stuff for me, which is very much around setting a specific time. Don't wait, not waiting for the video to be perfect. I do tend to do that, as I'm sure
mm,
everyone does at some point in their content creation journey. And also creating a bit of a buffer. So I do find I'm a bit more comfortable if I know I've got about 2 or 3 videos in the chamber and I'm in a nicer place to slowly record videos and get them edited. I'm a lot less likely to do good content and be consistent when I'm actually doing it hand to mouth in a way. So
Yep. Yep.
that's been something, that I've learned over time, and I guess I've been doing YouTube now since 2018, really on and off.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
probably know enough to know what works well for me. So if I can do that kind of thing, that would work. The other thing I have noted here around wanting to explore other topics, I'm not sure. I think that's me possibly being lazy. But it does actually connect well to you, Nick, in terms of what you were saying around you tried a broad brush of topics, which I think is quite
Mm.
handy if you do that, because then you know very early on what you really like to talk about, and then you can niche down. I think to some extent I may have niched a bit early. I went from one niche to another niche. And because those niches to some extent provided me with a bit of success, I thought,
Mm.
oh, this is my niche. But really, I'm always wondering, is this really what I want to keep making videos about for the rest of my life? So
Mm.
that's something I'm still thinking about. But I'll still probably touch on the personal finance topic. It's a relevant topic, especially costs of living changes. You can adjust your content in that direction. I don't think there's as much to talk about in the investing side, but I'll go into that.
Mm.
So yeah, so that's me in terms of my plan and how I'll execute it. It's very much around consistency. I've got my editor still, my long-suffering editor is still there in the background. He doesn't mind working with me.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be in a position to bring in other people into the team. I think for myself, if I just work with an editor to smash that out. In the past, I've identified that saves me about 10 to 15 hours a week.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, it's definitely worth me doing that.
Mm.
And we'll definitely touch on, recruiting people or contracting work out in
Mm.
future episodes. But yeah, that's my plan. So Nick, coming back to you, tell us a bit about the specific goals you want to try and achieve in 2024 and how you'll go about that.
Yeah. So yeah, the first one, like we've already mentioned, is to hit 6 figures by the end of the year. Yeah, hopefully we'll get there. It's basically like how I talked about my strategy before. It's kind of my plan to get there. Then I'd like to hit 100,000 subscribers. I don't really know if that's that feasible or not at this stage. And to me, it's not so much about subscribers as much as it's about revenue in terms of sustainability, because I think you can earn decent revenue from a smaller channel if you've set it up right. So we'll see how we go with that. And then I'd really like to have comments on all of my videos where people shared that was actually helpful, because I feel like that would help make sure that I'm creating content that's actually helpful. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's kind of a good reminder or a good goal when I'm scripting my content. Like, is this actually going to be helpful enough that someone will take the time to write a comment and say this was actually helpful? Because I think if I'm creating content that's actually helpful, then hopefully the rest will follow. Like if I can nail that, then yeah, I think the rest will fall into place. So that's kind of increasingly a main priority and a main focus for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then following from that, basically create a paid product that helps at least 1,000 people. So if I can get 1,000 customers to buy a paid product, whether that's a course or something else, that'd be really cool. And then have 3 people helping me with content, because like I said, I just realized towards the end of last year, doing short form and long form, especially if you're trying to do it across multiple platforms, it's just, I don't think it's that feasible to do at a quality level, like a high quality level with just one person. Like I realized finally I just have to outsource. So I'd like to have someone to help me with writing, someone to help with editing, and then someone to do my thumbnails. So that would basically leave some of the writing, strategizing, creating products, and filming to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd like to do some more giveaways or some giveaways. I've got one potentially lined up pretty soon.
Awesome.
But yeah, a few more giveaways would be really cool, just to give back to the community and generate some organic engagement. That'd be cool.
I think that topic around when you start to recruit people, that will be really interesting, and we can do some videos and episodes around that, because that's probably going to be an interesting one. It's something a lot of people I don't think about
Mm.
even in the early days, and fair enough, because you're starting out. But once you start to earn a solid income, it's definitely worth it, because it just
Mm.
takes the mental load off, and
Yeah, and I kind of wish in some ways that I'd done what you did, which was outsource while you're still working full time. Because I think part of the problem that I had earlier this year is that I didn't feel like I really could outsource because I needed the income that I was getting from my channel to live on.
Yep.
Whereas it was essentially disposable income when I was, working as an employee full time. So I could have used that disposable income to accelerate the growth of my channel by outsourcing. But yeah, I didn't do that. So I have to do it now. But yeah.
Awesome. So that is our plan for 2024, and that's going to be quite interesting. Please do follow us along as we hopefully go and achieve these exciting things. Leave a comment below on how high a probability you think these are to be achieved and any tips and tricks you have for us, because we'll definitely be coming back to look at those comments and even watching this video 12 months from now. That will be quite exciting.
Yep.
So moving on to our next segment, tip of the week. Nick, what is your tip?
Yes, my tip this week is to use the Opal Focus app, and I literally only learnt about it about 2 weeks ago. But it's changed my life. Like seriously
Okay.
though, in the last couple of weeks, it's really helped me to focus. Basically, what it does is you install it onto your phone. It connects to the screen time on your iPhone. So I'm not 100% sure if it works for Android. I know you can get other services and apps basically that do basically the same thing that do work on Android. So if Opal doesn't work on Android, you can get apps that do the same thing. But you can set app limits. So, for example, I have it set so that between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., it locks out all the distracting apps. So, like Instagram, YouTube, all that type of stuff. Anything that distracts me from my work, I just set it up so that it's locked and you can't open it. And there's even ways of completely locking yourself out, so you can't disable it at all until the timer runs out. So it's actually really kind of foolproof, which I like because I tend to find ways around it and just turn it off. But yeah, like it's just helped me really focus because knowing that I don't have the option to just go and browse Instagram. Again, towards the end of last year, I found myself just, if I got a bit bored or I was, wanting a break from editing or something, I just open my phone, start browsing reels, and then, 20 minutes later, I'd be like, oh, I should probably get back to work. So it was just a huge time suck. So I think for any content creators or budding content creators, people who are just going full time, who struggle with focus or just want that extra boost, it's genuinely made a big difference for me. And like I said, there's other services out there if Opal isn't the right one for you, but yeah, great service.
Awesome. There you go. Links in the description below for Opal, the Focus app. And it is important because I think it's very easy when you're a content creator to think consuming content is part of the journey, but it's surprisingly, I mean, a little bit here and there is fine, but yeah, you don't want to go down too much of a hole.
Exactly.
On that. Okay, so in a couple of episodes, we're going to do a bit of a Q&A. So if you are interested and you would like to drop some questions in, whatever spectrum you'd like to talk about or whatever topics you want to go into, I mean, there'll be a little bit of review on our side, but if you have a question, feel free to drop them into the YouTube channel comments section. But we also wanted to remind you of an affiliate link that we have for the platform that we're currently using, Riverside, for our podcast. Check out our description below for that. And we've also got a couple of other episodes that you might be interested in watching or listening to after this. So first one is actually episode 1, which was the first episode we did where we talked about our plan for 2023. Then we had episode 10 where we did a bit of a mid-year check-in for 2023, sorry. I'm not sure if you remember that one, Nick. That was good fun.
I think so. Yep.
And then also a bit of a different one, episode 4, which might be of interest to you, where we talk a bit about the content creator toolkit, all the things you'd need to do to get into content creation. And we'll probably do updates on all of those as well, because I think it's good to kind of refresh those in New Year's as well. So really quickly, if you do want to find me on the internet, you can find me at sanjeesen.com and Sanjee Sen on YouTube. And how about yourself, Nick?
I am Nick Kendall on YouTube, and my newsletter is Create Better. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to sign up.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye for now.